Hey there, history buffs and animal lovers. Today we're combining the best of both worlds by diving into 5 legendary war animals you probably didn't know existed. Trust me, these critters will make Rin Tin Tin look like a lazy house pet. So let's march into it. Number 1, Sergeant Stubby. Forget John Rambo and John Wick. Today we're saluting a hero who actually existed and did his duty on all fours. Yes, we're talking about the legendary, the unbeatable, the tail-wagging Sergeant Stubby. Now, some of you might be asking, who's Sergeant Stubby? Well, pull up a chair because it's time for a history lesson that's more Boston strong than a Fenway Park hot dog. Stubby was a Boston Terrier who started his life as a stray. Yep, just a random doggo scavenging for scraps. But one day he decided he was destined for greatness and snuck into a training camp for soldiers headed to World War I. Honestly, he was just sniffing around for treats, but he ended up enlisting in the army. Talk about a rough life turn. And this wasn't just some cute mascot prancing around the barracks. Stubby was a 4-legged machine built to save lives. He sniffed out incoming gas attacks before they could blindside his human buddies, giving them just enough time to don their gas masks. I mean, forget Lassie, Stubby was the real deal. But hold on, folks, Stubby's job description doesn't stop there. He also had a knack for finding wounded soldiers on the battlefield. That's right, some dog fetched sticks, Stubby fetched people. And check this out, Sergeant Stubby was so good at his job that he got promoted to, yes, you guessed it, Sergeant. That's right, he outranked many humans. Imagine coming home from the war and explaining to your family that you got bossed around by a Boston Terrier. That's kind of like your goldfish winning at chess. After the war, Stubby returned home a hero, rubbed elbows, or should I say rubbed paws, with 3 US presidents, and even moonlighted as the Georgetown Hoyas' mascot. That dog ended up having a better resume than most people. Number 2, Wch the Bear. If you love Sergeant Stubby, then you're gonna love Wch the Bear, a hero who went from fur to fame, from cub to corporal, all during the chaos of World War II. Wch wasn't just any bear, he was a Syrian brown bear found orphaned and hungry by Polish soldiers in Iran. They took him in, fed him, and even let him drink beer. And let's be honest here, any bear that can down a pint is a hero in my book. But Wch was more than just the life of the party. He was a soldier at heart. In fact, he was officially enlisted in the Polish army and he had his own serial number and rank. This formidable soldier helped the troops by carrying heavy artillery shells during the Battle of Mount Cassino. That's right, he didn't have to bear arms, he literally bore ammunition. He became so popular among the troops that they even made him the mascot of the 22nd Artillery Supply Company, and his image, a bear holding an artillery shell, became their emblem. Talk about the right to bear arms, am I right? After the war, Wch retired like any distinguished veteran would, by moving to Scotland and living out his days in the Edinburgh Zoo. Apparently, he loved cigarettes and would only accept them if they were lit. Number 3, Cher Ami. Meet Cher Ami, a French name that means dear friend, which is fitting because this little pigeon did one of the most friendly acts anyone or any bird could do during the war. Cher Ami served with the US Army Signal Corps in France during World War I. Now, before you laugh it off, consider this. Cher Ami was not your regular park pigeon that steals your fries and poops on your head. Nope, this bird was a straight-up hero. During the Battle of the Argonne, nearly 200 men were trapped behind enemy lines without food or ammunition. Facing a little miscommunication, a really big one, the US forces began to shell their own men. Enter Cher Ami. With a small canister attached to her leg, she was dispatched with a message to stop the artillery fire. Our feathered friend flew through a sky filled with bullets and explosions, and guess what? She was shot down, but did she give up? No. She got up and continued her flight, arriving just in time to stop the deadly barrage. For her service, Cher Ami was awarded the French Croix de Guerre, which I'm pretty sure is the pigeon equivalent of a knighthood. She was so famous they even preserved her body and displayed it at the Smithsonian. Number 4, Simon the Cat. Simon was a ship's cat aboard the HMS Amethyst during the Yangtze incident in 1949. And let me tell you, he wasn't just on board for his charming good looks or his riveting conversations about the best way to groom whiskers. This tough kitty had duties. He was responsible for controlling rats aboard the ship. But what made him legendary was not just his rat-catching prowess, it was his bravery and resilience. During a heavy artillery attack, Simon was severely injured. But since he had 9 lives, he pulled through. And he didn't just lie around sipping kitty milkshakes. Instead, he went back to his duties, even boosting morale among the crew. And Simon didn't stop at merely doing his job. He went way beyond. He comforted wounded sailors, even standing guard over them. For his bravery, Simon was awarded the Dickens Medal, the animal equivalent of the Victoria Cross. Finally, number 5, war elephants. Forget about battle tanks, fighter jets, or even dragons from fantasy epics. Today, we're talking about the OG battle beast, the war elephant. Picture this, you're a Roman soldier minding your own business, maybe checking your stone tablet for messages or something. Then you hear trumpeting that could only be from Gabriel's horn. But no, it's not the end of the world, just an elephant charging at you, clad in armor and ready to stomp your legion into Roman jelly. War elephants were the Abrams tanks of the ancient world. They were used by various civilizations, including the Persians, the Carthaginians, and several Indian dynasties. And if you think stepping on a Lego hurts, imagine an elephant stepping on you. But it wasn't just about the brute force. These pachyderms were the Swiss Army knives of the animal kingdom. Need to break through enemy lines? Check. Want to scare the sandals of Roman soldiers? Double check. Need a mobile high ground for your archers? You got it, elephant style. Now you may be wondering, why aren't elephants used in wars today? Well, that's because we've come to our senses and realized that elephants should be in wildlife reserves, not battle reserves. But back then, war elephants were the stars of the show. And speaking of stars, one of the most famous war elephants was Hannibal's Saurus, who crossed the Alps to give Romans a trunk full of problems. Yes, the Alps. I can't hike up a steep hill without complaining. So there you have it. These are not your average sit and roll over pets. These are bona fide war heroes with fur, feathers, and sometimes tusks. Talk about possum. And until we meet again in another tantalizing tale of history, mystery with a touch of comedy, stay curious, everybody. 5 legendary war animals